The mindset that separates the great from the average is not built in a single moment, a single workout, or a single burst of motivation. It's built in the quiet, unseen decisions a person makes long before stepping into the gym. For The Rock, raising the bar begins in the mind, not with the weights. It starts with an inner dialogue that refuses excuses and rejects limitations. This mindset isn't fueled by hype. It's powered by a deep belief that greatness is earned every day through intentional choices. Most people wait for motivation to arrive, but those who rise above understand that motivation is unreliable. It fades, it fluctuates, and it can't be counted on. What can be counted on is the discipline to show up even when the body is tired, when the mind is stressed, and when life isn't going perfectly. This is the mindset that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary progress. The average person thinks about what they want. The great think about who they must become to earn it. The average asks, "Can I do this?" The great say, "I will do this." That shift in internal language is the foundation of mental strength. The Rock often talks about how the gym is his anchor, not because it's easy or comfortable, but because it's where he sharpens his mental edge. The moment he steps inside, he switches into a mode where excuses can't survive. This mindset is built on intention. Every rep has meaning. Every set has purpose. Every drop of sweat is a reminder that progress isn't gifted, it's paid for. Greatness requires the ability to push through the noise of doubt. The average mind crumbles when things get difficult, but the great recognize that struggle is part of the process. The Rock understands that discomfort is the gateway to strength, not just physically, but mentally. When the weight feels heavy, the average person sees a limit. The great see an opportunity. They lean in, breathe through it, and push harder, because they know that the reward is on the other side of resistance. This mindset is built through repetition, repeating discipline, repeating effort, repeating commitment until it becomes second nature. The average mind is emotional. It responds to moods, feelings, and circumstances. The great operate from standards, not emotions. Whether exhausted, busy, stressed, or overwhelmed, the standard remains the same: show up and execute. This is why The Rock trains even during late nights, early mornings, long filming schedules, or days filled with pressure. It's not just about building muscle. It's about reinforcing the mindset that he refuses to break commitments to himself. That is what separates him from the average. There is a deep sense of personal accountability, a belief that if he doesn't put in the work, someone else will, and that alone is enough to push harder. Another aspect of this mindset is gratitude. It sounds simple, but few people truly practice it. The average person sees training as a chore. The great see it as a privilege. The Rock often mentions that he comes from a place where nothing was guaranteed. That background shaped the perspective that every opportunity to train is a blessing. When you appreciate the struggle, you approach the gym with a different energy. Less complaining, more gratitude, less hesitation, more hunger. Gratitude fuels consistency, and consistency fuels greatness. Focus is another critical piece of this mindset. The average person is easily distracted. Phones, conversations, doubt, comparison. The great lock in. The Rock treats the gym like a battlefield. When he enters, he leaves everything else outside. No distractions, no noise, no excuses. This level of mental presence allows him to push deeper, lift heavier, and train with intensity that others can't match. It's not about looking strong. It's about being strong in mindset, character, and execution. Ultimately, what separates the great from the average is the refusal to settle for anything less than their full potential. The Rock doesn't chase perfection, he chases progress. He doesn't rely on luck, he relies on preparation. He doesn't wait for the right time, he creates the right time. His mindset is built on the relentless pursuit of becoming better than he was yesterday. And that's the blueprint. Not waiting for greatness, but building it through discipline, focus, gratitude, and a deep commitment to the process. This mindset isn't exclusive to him. It's something anyone can adopt. The difference is that most won't. Most people want results without the grind, comfort without sacrifice, success without struggle. But those who truly want to raise the bar, just like The Rock, must embrace the truth that greatness begins and ends in the mind. When the mind is strong, the body follows. When the mindset is unshakable, the path to success becomes inevitable. The reason discipline beats motivation every single day is simple. Motivation is temporary, fragile, and inconsistent, while discipline is steady, dependable, and immune to mood swings. Motivation depends on how you feel. Discipline depends on what you've committed to becoming. For The Rock, Discipline isn't something he turns on when he feels inspired. It's who he is, day in and day out. It's a standard he has built over a lifetime, especially from the days when he had nothing and had to fight for every inch of progress. That history shaped his belief that you can't rely on feeling good to get things done. You rely on discipline because it keeps you moving long after the excitement fades. Motivation is like a spark, bright for a moment, but gone just as quickly. It can come from a video, a quote, a song, or a moment of emotion. But discipline is like a flame that burns as long as you keep feeding it. It's built through repetition, routine, and the willingness to do what needs to be done even when every part of you doesn't want to. That's what The Rock embodies. When he wakes up at 4 a.m., it's not because he's motivated every morning, it's because he's disciplined enough to honor the promises he made to himself. He understands that greatness is achieved during the moments that other people avoid. The long days, the early mornings, the tired hours, the days when no one is cheering. The average person waits for motivation to strike like lightning. They wait to feel ready. But those who rise above know you'll never truly feel ready. They understand that if you wait for motivation, you'll waste your potential. Discipline eliminates the need for waiting. It pushes you forward when your body wants rest, when your mind feels weak, and when life gets chaotic. It becomes the internal force that refuses to take no for an answer. For The Rock, discipline is part of his identity, something he's proud of, something he protects, something he trains like a muscle. Discipline is also what creates momentum. When you show up consistently, even with small actions, you begin to build a rhythm. That rhythm turns into progress, and progress turns into hunger. The more disciplined you are, the more results you see, and the more results you see, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined. Motivation comes and D goes, but discipline compounds. It grows stronger with every choice, every rep, every workout. That's how The Rock raises the bar. He doesn't allow his emotions to dictate his actions. He decides what to do, and then he executes without hesitation. Another critical part of discipline is responsibility. The great hold themselves accountable. The average search for excuses. The Rock learned early in life that no one was going to save him. No one was going to hand him success. That shaped a mindset where discipline wasn't optional. It was required. He treats the gym like a commitment, not an option. He treats his diet like a responsibility, not a suggestion. He treats his goals like obligations, not dreams. When you adopt that level of responsibility, you stop negotiating with your laziness. You stop letting comfort win. You stop allowing your feelings to run your life. Discipline also builds resilience. When you push yourself through hard days, you develop mental toughness. You learn that you can endure discomfort. You learn that you can function under stress. You learn that you can push past fatigue. Over time, these lessons become part of your character. That's why disciplined people are harder to break. They're not driven by emotion. They're driven by purpose, and purpose is much stronger than a temporary burst of motivation. Another reason discipline wins is because it shapes the environment around you. When you're disciplined, people notice. Opportunities appear. Doors open. The world respects consistent effort. Motivation doesn't create results. Consistent action does. The Rock didn't achieve success because he was motivated. He achieved success because he mastered consistency. Even when he became famous, even when he got wealthier, even when he had every reason to relax, he chose discipline. That's why he continues to grow instead of plateau. The truth is, discipline creates freedom. The freedom to be proud of yourself. The freedom to control your outcome. The freedom to rise above average. When you're disciplined, you don't live in regret because you know you showed up. You know you put in the work. You know you honored your mission. That's the mindset The Rock wants others to experience. The strength that comes from doing what needs to be done even when it's uncomfortable. In the end, discipline is the backbone of success. It's what carries you when motivation disappears. It's what keeps you moving when life hits hard. It's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. The Rock doesn't rely on motivation. He builds habits that operate even when he doesn't feel like it. That's why discipline wins, because it's not about feeling good today. It's about becoming unstoppable for the rest of your life. Turning pain into power is one of the most defining aspects of The Rock's relentless work ethic. And it's a mindset that transforms obstacles into opportunities for extraordinary growth. Pain is something everyone experiences. Physical pain, emotional pain, the pain of failure, rejection, disappointment, or setbacks. Most people run from it, hide from it, or try to numb it. But the great ones, the ones who rise, the ones who build themselves into something unstoppable, they embrace pain and use it as fuel. For The Rock, pain has never been a signal to stop. It has always been a reminder of what he's fighting for, where he came from, and what he refuses to return to. That is the foundation of his power. Pain teaches you what comfort never will. Comfort keeps you average, but pain challenges you to step into a higher version of yourself. The Rock grew up seeing struggle firsthand: financial instability, uncertainty, and constant pressure. Instead of letting that pain break him, he used it as motivation to rewrite his story. Every time life hit him, he hit back harder. That's why his work ethic is unmatched. He trains not just to stay strong, but to stay sharp, hungry, grounded. Pain is part of his journey, and instead of avoiding it, he welcomes it. Because he knows that on the other side of pain is strength, clarity, and purpose. Most people only push when things feel good. They show up when they're energized, inspired, or comfortable. But turning pain into power requires pushing when it hurts, when you're tired, when everything in you wants to stop. That's where true character is built. In the gym, The Rock uses pain as an indicator of growth. He understands that the moment a rep starts feeling difficult is the moment progress begins. The average person sees that discomfort and pulls back. The great see it and push forward. They know that the burning muscles, the heavy breathing, the shaking limbs, these are signs that you're breaking the limits that once confined you. There's also emotional pain, the pain of failing or feeling like you're not enough. The Rock experienced this deeply when he was cut from the Canadian Football League. It felt like the dream he poured his heart into collapsed overnight. But instead of letting that defeat define him, he used the pain as a turning point. That moment became the seed of motivation that pushed him toward wrestling and eventually into Hollywood. Pain can either imprison you or empower you. The difference is how you choose to respond. The Rock chose to turn it into power, and that decision changed everything. Pain forces you to look at yourself honestly. It reveals your weaknesses, your fears, your doubts. But instead of letting those truths break him, The Rock uses them as a roadmap for growth. He doesn't hide from the parts of himself that need work. He attacks them. If he's not strong enough, he trains harder. If he's not disciplined enough, he tightens his routine. If he feels discouraged, he remembers why he started. That's the mindset of someone who doesn't just survive pain, he transforms through it. Another critical part of turning pain into power is understanding that pain gives you perspective. When you've been through hard times, you develop a new level of appreciation for every win, every opportunity, every moment of progress. The Rock often says that the reason he trained so hard is because there was a time in his life when he didn't have anything. That pain shaped his hunger. It keeps him grounded, focused, and grateful. Gratitude becomes a form of power when you've earned it through struggle. Pain also builds resilience, the ability to stay strong no matter what life throws your way. The more pain you endure, the more resilient you become. You stop fearing challenges because you've already survived worse. You stop doubting yourself because you've proven to yourself that you can push beyond your limits. The Rock's resilience didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built rep by rep, setback by setback, comeback by comeback. Pain didn't make him weak. It made him unstoppable. Turning pain into power is also about channeling your emotions, not suppressing them. Anger, frustration, sadness, disappointment. These emotions can destroy you if you let them sit inside you without purpose. But when you channel them into your work, your training, your goals, they become powerful tools. The Rock often says the gym is his therapy, not because it removes pain, but because it transforms it. Every lift, every run, every drop of sweat becomes a release, a way to convert emotional weight into physical strength. Ultimately, turning pain into power is about redefining your relationship with struggle. Instead of seeing pain as the enemy, you see it as a partner in your growth. You accept that you can become strong without being tested. You realize that every great story begins with a moment of difficulty. The Rock's work ethic isn't built on ego or talent. It's built on the courage to face pain and the determination to rise above it. Pain will always be part of life. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The Rock chooses to let it build him, shape him, and drive him. When you learn to use pain as fuel, there is nothing you can't overcome. You become more than strong. You become unshakable. Yesterday is the rule that changes everything because it removes comparison from the equation and replaces it with a personal standard that pushes you forward every single day. Most people waste time comparing themselves to others. Who's stronger, who's more successful, who's moving faster. But The Rock's philosophy is simple. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. If you can beat that version of yourself, if you can lift a little more, focus a little harder, show up a little stronger, then progress becomes inevitable. This mindset shifts your focus from external validation to internal growth, and that's where true transformation happens. The idea of outworking yesterday isn't about massive leaps forward. It's about small, consistent improvements that compound over time. Most people underestimate the power of 1% daily growth. They look at successful people like The Rock and see the end result, strength, discipline, success, without understanding that it was built through years of tiny, disciplined choices. Every day, he sets the intention to be better in some way. Sometimes that means pushing heavier weight. Sometimes it means running longer. Sometimes it's simply about staying consistent when life gets chaotic. These small wins stack up and create unstoppable momentum. When you focus on outworking yesterday, you eliminate excuses. If yesterday's version of you got up early, then today's version must get up earlier. If yesterday you gave 100%, today you give 101%. That doesn't mean pushing yourself to exhaustion every day. It means refusing to settle for the comfort zone. It means never allowing yourself to coast. This mindset turns discipline into a lifestyle and progress into a habit. For The Rock, this approach is what keeps him hungry, even after achieving more success than most people can imagine. He understands that the moment you stop pushing yourself is the moment you stop growing. Outworking yesterday also forces you to be honest with yourself. You can't measure your progress against someone else's highlight reel. You measure it against your own effort. You look at who you were last week, last month, last year, and you make sure you're not staying in the same place. Self-honesty takes courage. It requires admitting where you're falling short and where your weaknesses still lie. But that honesty becomes a powerful tool for growth. The Rock doesn't sugarcoat anything. If he needs to train harder, he trains harder. If he needs to dial in his nutrition, he does it. If he needs to improve his mindset, he commits to it. That level of self-awareness and accountability is what separates consistent progress from stagnation. This rule also creates a sense of purpose in everything you do. When you wake up with the mindset of being better than yesterday, you step into the day with intention. The gym isn't just a workout. It's a chance to improve. Your morning routine isn't just habit. It's preparation. Your mindset isn't just thoughts. It's strategy. Every action becomes meaningful because it contributes to your long-term vision. The Rock uses this mindset to fuel every part of his life, not just his training. It's how he balances filmmaking, business, family, and fitness without losing his edge. Another powerful part of outworking yesterday is that it puts the focus on effort, not circumstances. Life will never be perfect. Some days you'll be tired, stressed, busy, or overwhelmed. But the rule stays the same. Do a little more than you did the day before. The Rock has days where he's filming long hours, traveling across time zones, or dealing with pressure few people can imagine. But he still trains, he still pushes, he still finds a way to improve, even if the improvement is small. That's because the habit is ingrained. It's no longer optional, it's identity. This mindset builds confidence in a natural, unforced way. When you know you're improving daily, you begin to trust yourself. You stop doubting your abilities because you see the proof of your growth. You stop fearing setbacks because you know you can adapt. You stop worrying about failure because progress becomes your default setting. Confidence built through consistent effort is the strongest form of confidence. Unshakable, grounded, earned. The Rock carries that energy everywhere he goes, and people feel it because it's real. Outworking yesterday also protects you from complacency. Success can make people comfortable, but comfort kills progress. The Rock avoids complacency by constantly raising his own standards. When he reaches a new level of strength, he aims higher. When he hits a milestone, he sets a new one. This constant upward pressure keeps him evolving, not plateauing. It's why he continues to dominate in every field he enters, because he never feels like he's done. He understands that mastery is a lifelong pursuit, not a destination. In the end, outworking yesterday is a promise you make to yourself. It's a contract that says you will never settle for less than your potential. It's a commitment to growth, discipline, and self-respect. The Rock's entire journey's been shaped by this principle. It's how he went from having $7 in his pocket to becoming one of the most influential figures in entertainment and fitness. He didn't do it by trying to be better than everyone else. He did it by being better than he was the day before. When you adopt this mindset, your life changes. You stop measuring success by comparison and start measuring it by progress. You stop chasing shortcuts and start embracing the process. You stop wanting results overnight and start building results over time. Outworking yesterday is the rule that creates success that lasts, strength that endures, and a mindset that can't be broken. And B, when no one is watching, the champion's habit reveals itself, because true greatness isn't built in front of an audience. It's built in the silent hours, the private sacrifices, the moments where no applause exists and no recognition is coming. This is the space where discipline becomes undeniable and character is exposed. For The Rock, work done behind closed doors is the reason he dominates in every arena of his life. When the cameras are off, when the gym is empty, when the world is asleep, he's still working. That's what separates him from the average. It's easy to perform when others are watching, but it's in the unseen moments where winners are made. Most people crave validation. They want someone to notice their effort, praise their progress, or admire their dedication. But the truly great don't rely on external motivation. They rely on internal standards. When The Rock steps into a gym at 4 a.m., no one is there to film him, congratulate him, or cheer him on. He doesn't train early for attention. He does it because it aligns with who he is. That integrity, that consistency, that hunger to show up without reward builds a foundation of success that cannot be shaken. Champions know that the world only sees 1% of their work, but the hidden 99% is what determines how far they go. When no one is watching, the average person relaxes. They cut corners, lower their effort, or take the easy path. They push themselves only when someone else is around to impress. But the great understand that their actions in private shape their results in public. The Rock trains harder in private than he ever does on camera because he knows those private battles are where strength is crafted. He knows that when you hold yourself to a standard, even when no one is checking, you become unstoppable. It's not about looking strong. It's about being strong in discipline, intention, and resilience. These unseen moments also reveal how badly you truly want something. Anyone can work hard when they're motivated or when people expect it. But working hard when you're tired, when you're unmotivated, when you're emotionally drained, that's where commitment shows itself. The Rock's early morning workouts aren't just a schedule. They're symbolic of his relentless pursuit of excellence. Every rep in the quiet is a reminder that his dreams matter, his goals matter, and his growth matters. He refuses to negotiate with himself, even when no one will ever know whether he pushed or slacked. That level of accountability builds champions. Another powerful truth about working when no one is watching is that it sharpens mental toughness. The Rock knows that solitude is where you confront your weaknesses. In a silent gym, there are no distractions, only the weight, the goal, and the struggle. That environment forces honesty. You can't hide behind noise or excuses. You face yourself, your doubts, your fears, your limitations, and every time you push through, you grow stronger internally. That's why the private grind matters. It creates a version of you who can endure pressure, adversity, and expectations with calm confidence. When no one is watching, the habits you build determine the life you live. If you practice discipline, you become disciplined. If you practice laziness, you become lazy. If you push your limits expand. The Rock's daily habits reflect this philosophy. He repeats excellence until it becomes automatic. He treats small tasks with the same seriousness as big ones because he knows success comes from mastering the basics. Champions don't wait for big moments to act like champions. They act like champions in the quiet moments so they're ready for the big ones. Another key aspect of this mindset is humility. Working hard in private keeps you grounded. It reminds you that success isn't something you show off. It's something you earn. The Rock never acts like he's above putting in the work. Despite his fame, success, and influence, he still trains like he's hungry, like he's trying to prove himself, like he's still the kid with nothing but determination. That humility is what keeps him sharp and focused. It prevents complacency from creeping in, and it fuels the fire to keep improving when no one is watching. Is also the moment where routines become rituals. The Rock doesn't just train, he honors the process. He embraces the grind, respects the discipline, and trusts that the consistency will lead to long-term results. That mindset removes the pressure of quick success. Instead of chasing instant gratification, he builds mastery over time. This approach creates sustainable progress and long-lasting success. Ultimately, the champion's habit is about integrity, doing the right things even when no one will ever know. It's about proving to yourself that you are committed, focused, and driven. It's the belief that your destiny is shaped by what you do in silence, not what you show in public. When you build discipline in private, Confidence becomes effortless in public. When you work hard unseen, you shine without trying when the spotlight arrives. The Rock's legacy isn't built on the moments the world sees. It's built on the countless hours no one sees. The world admires the results, but the true victory lies in the hidden grind. That's where he raises the bar. That's where champions are created. And when you adopt that mentality, you stop performing for approval and start performing for growth. You begin building a life where success comes not from luck, but from relentless, unseen, uncompromising effort. Raising the bar and pushing beyond limits is a mindset that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. It's the philosophy The Rock lives by every single day. Never staying satisfied, never accepting good enough, and never letting comfort replace hunger. Most people stop when they're tired, when the work gets heavy, or when they hit a point where progress feels slow. But those who rise, those who build greatness, learn to lean into that moment instead of retreating. For The Rock, pushing beyond limits is not about ego or proving something to the world. It's about proving something to himself. It's about constantly testing the edge of what he's capable of and refusing to be defined by yesterday's achievements. Limits are mostly mental. The body can endure far more than the mind believes. The Rock understands this deeply. He trains with an intensity that comes from years of learning that breaking mental barriers matters just as much as breaking physical ones. When his muscles burn, when the weight feels too heavy, when exhaustion kicks in, that's when he becomes the most focused. That's the moment he commits to pushing harder, because he knows real growth starts where comfort ends. Most people quit at the point where champions begin. And that difference, repeated day after day, is what creates unstoppable progress. Raising the bar isn't about random bursts of maximum effort. It's about systematic and consistent elevation. The Rock doesn't train simply to stay in shape. He trains to evolve. Each workout is designed to challenge him more than the last. He adds weight, adds volume, increases intensity, tightens his form, anything to ensure he's not repeating yesterday's effort. His constant pursuit of better creates a momentum that is impossible to ignore. It's the reason he's able to maintain peak physical condition while juggling an intense Hollywood schedule, massive business ventures, and personal responsibilities. He doesn't lower the bar to fit his life. He raises his life to match the bar. Another crucial part of pushing beyond limits is embracing struggle rather than avoiding it. Limits appear when things get hard, when fatigue sets in, or when your mind tells you to slow down. But The Rock views struggle as a sign of progress. He expects the grind. He anticipates the discomfort. He welcomes the challenge because he knows that every time he pushes through it, he becomes stronger in ways most people will never feel. Limits don't disappear. They expand. Each time he breaks through one, another appears. And instead of being discouraged, he sees it as another opportunity to grow. This mindset extends far beyond the gym. In life, people often stop when they encounter barriers. They let fear, failure, or uncertainty hold them back. But pushing beyond limits means refusing to accept that your first barrier is your final barrier. The Rock failed multiple times before becoming who he is today. He was rejected, broke, uncertain, and overlooked. But he never let those moments define him. Instead, he used them as fuel. He turned failure into motivation, fear into courage, and uncertainty into determination. Limits don't break strong people. Strong people break limits. Consistency plays a massive role in raising the bar. Anyone can go hard for a day or a week, but pushing beyond limits requires a lifetime of persistence. The Rock's work ethic is built on showing up no matter what. Early mornings, late nights, long flights, brutal schedules. He pushes himself when he's exhausted, when he's stressed, and when it would be easy to skip. That's because he's committed to the process, not the feeling. Feelings are temporary. Commitment is permanent. And it's commitment that allows you to push farther than you ever imagined. A big part of pushing beyond limits is having a clear vision of who you want to become. You can't raise the bar if you don't know your destination. The Rock trains like someone who has something to prove, not to others, but to himself. He sees the man he wants to be in the future. Stronger, sharper, more disciplined, more resilient. And every action he takes in the present must align with that future. That vision becomes the standard he holds himself to. It fuels him when his energy dips. It motivates him when life becomes overwhelming. It keeps him grounded, disciplined, and hungry. Raising the bar also means not settling for mediocrity in any area of life, whether it's training, business, relationships, or personal growth, The Rock strives to give more than expected. He believes in doing things with excellence, even when no one sees it. That level of integrity builds a reputation that attracts opportunity. People trust those who consistently push beyond limits because it shows reliability, strength, and commitment. Ultimately, pushing beyond limits is about discovering your true potential. Potential that most people never unlock because they stop too early. The Rock wants others to understand that the greatest version of themselves exists beyond exhaustion, beyond doubt, beyond fear. When you push yourself past the point where you thought you'd stop, you enter a new level of identity. You begin to see yourself as someone capable of more, someone deserving of more, someone who refuses to settle. And once you've tasted that feeling, you never go back. Raising the bar is a lifelong pursuit. It's a daily decision. It's a commitment to becoming stronger, sharper, and more disciplined than ever before. The Rock embodies this commitment because he knows greatness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pushing beyond limits until your limits break. That's how he continues to evolve. That's how he continues to inspire. And that's how anyone can elevate their life, by refusing to stop at good enough and choosing instead to chase their highest potential every single day.